Hello, everybody. Welcome to Marshall or FMA Talk Live, the Modern Arnis Chronicles. I'm your host, Datu Tim, and this is my stellar co-host.
Datu Ty's here. Welcome back, everyone.
All right, so welcome back. Why am I saying welcome back? If you're watching the rebroadcast of this, we tried a new format. I've got my co-host with me, my other co-host. Here we go.
That's right.
We're doing two shows in one night. The first show, we're trying to keep this quick or on point. Hey, Rich, welcome back. So the first show we did tonight was about the Filipino martial art community, what we could do to make it bigger and better, and how to have nice things too. Tonight's show, this part is going to be specifically about Modern Arnis. It is whether or not there are rank-driven titles in the art, and it came up recently, and we're going to talk about that for a moment. But real quick, do we think we have anything else we want to talk about? I think I'll probably mention my seminars at the end of the day.
There you go. I got an inappropriate thing, semi-inappropriate. If anybody asks, nasaan ang CR? We know the comfort room is in between part 1 and part 2.
Okay. Okay. So Andrew Goodwin says hello or respect.
Hey, Andrew.
And
Congratulations on the new position, too.
See, Andrew wasn't in the first one, so that's cool. Unless he was there and he didn't tell us.
He just started a new position job too, I saw.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So I think we kept on point, and I'm hoping this one's going to do the same. Next week we are going to do a show about different types of teaching platforms, i.e., not platforms, but training group, teaching out of your garage, teaching out of a park, teaching out of a commercial facility. Those are the pros, the cons. Big Boy Francis from Big Boy Screama is coming on. He had a YouTube post about this, and I thought it was a great discussion. And I reached out to him specifically to say, "Hey, listen, would you like to be on the show with us? Because it was your topic,
right,
and I want to give you credit for the inspiration." So we had a discussion back and forth, and he's going to be here next week. And you are welcome, sir. So, Andrew, our first show tonight was only 45 minutes, so you can watch that later, and not necessarily tonight, but it won't be a big one. You know, a big deal. It won't be like a 2-hour thing, and if you missed a part of it, it ruined the whole evening. So, all right. So, boom. I guess the big thing here on this is going to be, are there rank-driven titles in Modern Arnis? Now, I'm going to say there's the art, the system, and then there's the organization. So we have to preface this ahead of time. Okay. Any organization can do whatever the hell they want. People may not respect that, but let's talk. Let's talk about the official titles inside of Modern Arnis. So the first one was Guro, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what belt level were you when you were a Guro?
Technically, high green.
I was high blue, or maybe I was low blue.
And people should be responding on the sides, going, "What? Not black?"
So, what Remy did, his platform of teaching was to bring people who are already black belts in other systems, go to a training camp, teach them, and send them back as apprentice, like black belts in training. Mm-hmm. He gave people the ability to do training groups. And, if you looked at it, let's see what the Brazilians did afterwards, when the UFC, because Remy had been doing this long before the BJJ. So when the Gracies, when they first were doing things, you could go away to a weekend camp and come back a blue belt. Now, that would never happen now. But the whole idea was to start a training group. Mm-hmm. And then after time, they firmed up and the requirements for blue belt, because you could teach it blue, not necessarily have a club. But, the whole idea was to have a training group and get the ball rolling. Mm-hmm. So Professor did that same. Rich was a blue as well. He is blue. I'm so blue. Rich, a.k.a. the Eeyore of Modern Arnis.
But not Rich.
We love you, Rich. So, big heart. Yeah, double heart. So Guro. Okay, so Guro's official title, and that's something you can get at pre-black belt status. Mm-hmm. Well, we just got somebody.
It had something with it, right? You had to be.
Yeah, generally, it had to be a black belt.
Well, no, but also, I mean, for me, for example, it was you. What happened to my light? Anyway, at least basic apprentice instructor.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So, I mean, and that's what it was. Eventually, Professor did start issuing an apprentice instructor diploma, and I think the reason for that was the fact that I had started an apprenticeship program, and I was promoting it. That he goes, you know what, this is a good thing to have in there. So instructor levels, instructor certification. There you go. Yep. There were only when I started, there was only 3 diplomas, and there was a 4th one that I knew of at the end. So the first one, you would go to camp and you would get your participation diploma. Just a certificate saying that you completed the camp. That's it. It was not ranked oriented. It was just to say, here's a document that you completed the camp. Okay, good. The next one was basic instructor, which usually was around the blue or green level. Then advanced instructor was at the brown level. So there's the 3. Later, an apprentice instructor came in. So that was completion or participation, apprentice, basic, advanced. And there was no more diploma. There were no instructors.
I forgot about the apprentice one. I didn't see that one, but I had heard about it. Yeah, it was just basic and advanced when I went. But I was at green because that was my first color rank. Remember the story about they wanted to get this black, and he gave us. So anyway, but that probably throws people for a loop, right? You're an instructor at these different levels. Training group is a great way to characterize it, I think, and that's what Remy said. You will start a club. And I go, okay.
So Remy was the pioneer for this. I mean, you really think about this. Remy was doing this in the 70s before anyone was doing this kind of stuff. And his first camp was 1983. That was Virginia or West Virginia, 1983. He did 1 year there and moved up there. But I mean, this guy was doing seminars long before. I mean, when he was still in the Philippines in the early 70s, the Philippine government sponsored him as a diplomatic papers as an ambassador to their martial culture, sending him around the world for 2 different world tours. Right. So he was ahead of his time when it came to this. Now, he may not have had the nomenclature and the Western education or know what the words were, because back in the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s, they didn't have YouTube that you can tune into to hear foreign languages and stuff like that. They didn't have Babbel. They didn't even have dial-up back then. So he didn't have access to hearing things and knowing how things translate. And then we talk about culture. What was the thing you learned from the way Remy would always say, you do more better. You came up with the reason why.
Oh, that was you're already there. Yeah. So
you're already there.
Yeah. When you do this, you're already there. The already is often used participle. But anyway, yep. There are reasons, and then it starts to make sense.
But that's the way they translated some of the words.
Right. It's a direct translation.
Yeah. Versus, so
how it feels. Yeah.
Yeah. Versus, like they say, it's lost in translation. Well,
another example is, remember, he would always go in real. And that's how they often would say something like really, right? Now, that's not the literal translation, but if you want to say normal, you might say "san normal," right? Yeah. Anyway, there are all sorts of connections that started making sense, and it wasn't just him being silly. He was just doing direct translation, because if you organically learn a language, maybe that's what you're going to do.
Yeah. So let's hit another one up. So Guro was one. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there was Datu. So I think that was the first real title that hit the scene other than Guro. Mm-hmm. That became a title that had more, that wasn't a one-off.
I was going to say, because he had the one-off ones, Professor, Grandmaster for Remy himself, but that was never an issue for anybody else.
So Datu, that was Shashir was the first. I was the last, and we look at these things, and that was tribal leader, but there was no rank. Matter of fact, right. Bong Hernandez, who was at one time was one of the Datus, and he's a grandmaster of his own system. So when I say he was one of the Datus, he was one of the Datus, but he also had his own thing going, and he went that path. Well, he had other things going on in life, and he had to do what was right for him and his family, and that took him out of this. It took him out of the loop for a while, and I think he preferred competing more than anything else, and that wasn't something we really did as a whole. So, but at the time, there was no question that Remy wanted. We saw Remy groom him for great things, you know. But Bong had no rank; he just had a title. So, and David Hoffman was a Datu, but he was 5th degree. I don't know what, if any, rank Shashir had. I just don't know. It got to a point where there was this thought that you had to be a 6th degree black belt to be a Datu, and that was not the case because David Hoffman was a 5th. You know, and like I said, Bong wasn't ranked at all.
Right.
So I tried to, like when Remy offered me in 99 Datu, and I turned it down because I was planning on testing for my 6th the following year. And I wanted to have this all at the same time. I didn't want to have, I was working hard towards that test. And I also didn't feel that I was where I wanted to be a Datu either. Now, he had told Kelly that I had taken it, and Kelly called me up and congratulated him. But I think it was that Remy used to try to light those friendly fires underneath people's ass, bust their chops to get them going. Because I remember he would show someone a technique and turn his back to somebody else, so he wouldn't show the technique to the other person to get to light that little fire. And they would do techniques back and forth with different people, and I'm like, okay, I see the game. All right, so like, yeah, and I never played that game. I mean, the thing here is in most times, by when he was doing with a lot of people that were coming up, and I'm like, yeah, I've been there, done that. I'm beyond that level now.
Right.
There was like one time he tried to show something, like, you mean this right here? Shut up, Tim. Yes, I showed you that already. Okay, so then, whatever. So, but I always also went to Remy with a notebook or notes and say, hey, Remy, I'm working on this. What do you think of this? And I'd show it to him a bunch of times. If he liked it, he'd have me do it a bunch of times. Or if not, he would say, no, do this instead. I'm like, win-win. He didn't like the technique. He showed me why I shouldn't do the technique. And then he gave me a better option. Boom. How do you go wrong with that?
Right.
So, all right. So here's another one that came out. Punong Guro. Ended up being a 2-time title versus a 1-time title. I had asked him what a Punong Guro was, and he said, you were a Punong Guro. And we argued about this, and he goes, because I didn't ask him to become one. I asked him what one was because somebody else was using the title outside the system, and I'm just like, hey, what is this?
Right.
And then his thing was, well, Tim, you were a guru, and now you produced multiple gurus underneath you. And it tracks, right? So you're a Punong Guro. And that tracked because there was a good friend of mine, the late Rudy Casico up in Toronto. And he was Guru Rudy for years until he produced his first guru, Joby, and that made him Punong Guro. So I was the first, and then the only other one was Marlena Hafano out in the SeaTac area. Now, Marleno, or like afterwards, I did something in our organization for that. And what we do is you have to be a 5th degree black belt. If you're going to be Punong Guro, which basically means master, well, you should have at least produced an instructor underneath you or two. Which is why we now have a requirement for rank promotion that you need to produce X amount of black belts for certain degree black belts after, like in modern, we do it at 3rd, and in Praesis, we do it in 4th because there's more content in Praesis. But, to be if you're going to be a 5th degree black belt in modern, 2, 4, you need to have produced 8 black belts or 8 levels of black belt. So,
So literally, Punong Guro is head or chief teacher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know other styles will use it as their GM, or other styles will do it as, hey, who's the school owner? But you're right. That's how I always took it.
Yeah. So once again, a non-ranked title in Modern Arnis.
Right.
So then we got some one-offs.
Right.
So senior master, and that was Dan Anderson. He was a 6th degree black belt, and then a year or two later he became senior master. So no rank promotion, just a title. And I want to talk about that one specifically. Mr. Terrell, Danny, how you doing? Hello again. So this is part 2. We're talking about rank-driven titles in Modern Arnis. So far, we haven't found any. That's not a spoiler, but or maybe it is. Who knows? So, what was the last thing I said? I don't know.
We were talking about the senior master.
Senior master. So Dan Anderson was a one-off.
Right.
Now there was this big. Now this goes towards the master tappy thing, which we're gonna talk about that. So one thing I was told was that 4th degree was junior master. Or no, I'm sorry, fifth degree was junior master, because 6th degree was senior master.
Now, yeah, I'd never heard that. I just heard master and senior master, and then
So first of all, you're missing a title in there. You'd be master.
Right.
You do junior master, then you'd be a master, then you would be a senior master. Now, what this is people didn't know how Dan Anderson, most likely, no one knew what Dan did to get his senior master title. And because, like Datu, they probably assumed it was a 6th degree thing. So when you look at all the ranks, so master and master tappy is another one that falls in. That was done. There was no rank with that, right. Nor do I believe it supersedes rank. Another one right there. Hey Eric, how you doing tonight?
Hey. West Coast.
Yep. Yes. So, yeah. So that's that right there. So, I keep saying so a lot. So we did Guro. We've done Punong Guro. We've done. I don't know there was any official master ranking at all.
Right.
There was a senior master. That was a one-off. There was no junior master. What the Motts or Randy Shea, who disappeared, said to me was, what Remy did was he took 5th degree, which was junior master, and then turned it into full master, and that's when they gave the people the masters of tappy. But if that was the case and it superseded rank, like they were saying, why wouldn't it have been the super supreme master or something along those lines? I don't know. Yep. I mean, because there'd still be a senior master, not just a master, but a senior master title.
Right.
I'm good. We're both doing well. New show format, 2 shows in one evening. So it'll be easier for you to watch the old show or the previous show, because only about 45 minutes. We kept pretty close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty close. So there were proteges. I was a protege. Doesn't mean anything. It just means you're a protege. I mean, I've had different proteges over the year. Just someone I took underneath my wing, saying, "Hey guys, this is the person I'm grooming at the moment."
Right.
But a lot of people thought different things. I was the canon director of the IMAF, which was an administrative position, not a title. That position came with the title.
And that was, if I remember right, was that you on your own doing it, or wasn't that Remy was?
Oh, that was my job from Remy. I was the Can-Am director of the International Modern Arnis Federation.
Yes, part of the whole.
Part of the whole.
Yep, gotcha.
He wanted me to go into Canada. It was like translating. Remember, Lost in Translation. Tim, I want Canada's for you. Now, for those who don't understand, Buffalo literally borders Canada. The bridge into Canada is in downtown Buffalo. So I can be in Canada literally in 15 minutes from my house or my school, depending on how I drive. Sometimes I can get in 11 minutes. Now, that's not including the traffic on the bridge, but if everything's good to go, we literally, I mean, I can be in Canada quicker than I can go to the mall here. Actually, I can get in quicker. So I pick a lot of people up at the Buffalo International Airport. I can be in Canada before I can get to the airport. So he wanted me to go and help develop Modern Arnis in Canada because he was doing seminars up there, and we talked about it. At the time, the exchange rate was 50 cents on the dollar in our favor, or no, yeah. So we would be able to buy double whatever we wanted up there. But unfortunately, if you made money up there, it was only worth half of what we had. So that was rough. That was really rough. So but that was a position. That wasn't a rank thing,
Right.
Can you think of any other titles?
I mean, there's some ones that were chosen, again, one-offs to protect names so they didn't have weirdnesses, right? There were, yeah, I can't think of any. I mean, titles weren't really thrown around. If either it was professor or you had people you were teaching, but that's great. You're showing up there and you're bringing your people, and nobody ever stressed titles.
One junior professor,
right? Junior professor, right? That's the one.
Michael Bates. That was right. Master. That was Master Michael T. Bates. Master Bates.
Yep, that's what I said. Protect the name problems.
So Remy promoted him to junior professor because calling him Master Bates was a little problematic.
Right.
So, but there was a couple things that he would do like that. He told some people, "Hey, listen, I want you to write an article." Well, but I'm not a Modern Arnis guy. Well, you tell if they give you grief on this, you tell them that you're the international consultant for self-defense for the International Modern Arnis Federation. He wasn't promoting him. He just said, just use that title. Of course, the person wrote the article and signed it that way, but what do I know?
Right.
And yes, we're holding the cheese.
There you go.
Mr. Pizza's back. Moldy pizza. Leftover old.
So the plan of changing to two separate shows did not lose him.
No. We tried to, but he was staking his territory out. If you look well in advance, he had all these little things he was doing long before the show started. He propagated. That's a ninja there. There's a dragon. Here's a karate gi. There's the fist. And then, of course, we got our slice here. Got to have that slice. And,
Yeah, no, that's
Karate Mochi.
There you go.
So,
no, but yeah, I can't really think of any titles. I mean, he called you by your first name, and that was just like he asked us to do.
And he would say, "Call me Remy." And of course, it was all okay, Professor. Although I would refer to him Remy all the time because there was too many professors at the time to keep track of.
True.
Professor V, Professor Wally J, Professor Remy. Mm-hmm. When we can go through the list and say, "Who are we talking about today?" Remy. Who are we talking about today? Wally. Oh, Professor J, how you doing? It was always utmost respect when they were present, but what's this here? 88, 89 asked me to go to Sweden, and I said I could be his protege, a person who guided and supported by an older, more experienced, influential person. Exactly.
Yep.
There was a bunch of people who were in that role, but then people said, "Oh, I got a title.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I got a title, and then I got a job." Like an Egyptian. There we go.
But they weren't thrown around a lot. I mean, they're like you said, one-offs. And then, in my mind, Datu was something you couldn't really go for, right? It was a thing that Remy decided.
As Remy told me, it was like being knighted.
Yeah. So that's
call
not
me Sir Tim.
Right. That's not in the realm of, what we normally would consider. We were coming up, we're like, hey, I want to do this stuff for a long time, and I want to help other people do it. That's all we thought of.
Okay. Can you get that one?
tried to call himself the title of Dad Levy. Said no. This I have no idea what that means. I can't read it. Said no, not so fast. Let's wait. But so and there was some pet names or something. Every time I showed up, he would always say "the Thai." That's not a word, right? It's just the Thai, pronounced funny.
Thai.
And he would exclaim it and greet me, and I had that was my term of endearment.
Oh my God, he promoted him to the Thai. What's that? What's that? It's the Thai.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's his name.
Several people do call me. But the other thing is, if you claimed as a title, guess what? Tatai is wife. So let's not use that one.
Ooh, there we go.
Or
yummy britches. Oh, he's talking about Maury. Okay, that explains quite a bit. Okay.
There you go.
I tried calling my father Dad, and he said it was too for him to wait to go. We go. Okay. All right. So
father, sorry.
Okay. So, let's hit the big one, because we can talk about all a bunch of the little ones, and this is what the show is about. And usually, if I have a topic, there's been inspiration. So let's talk about this. Ty, what belt in Modern Arnis earns you the title of Grand Master, and how many can we have?
I can only talk about the way I thought about it when Remy was there, and it was not associated with rank. It was the founder. Because he was alive, right? If the founder's still alive, that's the Grandmaster. What else makes sense? Now, I never thought of it as associated with a rank. It was just him. I guess you would say that it's associated with 10th, but it's, again, we talked about this before. I'm old school. One Grandmaster per big giant unit, like maybe the whole style, maybe the whole continent, maybe the whole organization, if you want to make an organizational title, but we're talking about system right now.
Okay. So and
it's in the book.
There we go. And unfortunately, when he released the book, he didn't update that one section, and people are reading it literally not, they thought, it only said 27 years.
Right.
I'm like, come on, stop it.
It said 27 years originally, and then 27 years-ish later, it wasn't adjusted.
Well, here's the thing is, so in the book it says Remy was the Grandmaster not because he's the founder, but because of his 27-plus years of training. So he re-released the book in the late 90s, which ended up at that time being over 50 years of training, but he didn't update that portion of the book. He just will re-release the book. And even if we go sit there the 27 years, that's not a license, because you know what? He still didn't promote anyone to the title of Grandmaster.
Yep.
Also said father of the system.
Yes, true. Father of Modern Arnis. Yep.
I think you need to have a 10th degree to take over, because if we sit there, we leave the spot for Remy as 10th, and we'll only go 9. Well, what happens with the people below him? Do they sit there and say, well, we had too much respect for Tim or Ty or whatever, so we'll only go 8? So sooner or later, so I have no problem promoting someone to a 10th degree black belt. But Remy said in the book there'd only be one. So what happened recently? So first of all, there's a paradigm going on right now. So we want to make sure that we understand the difference between what a system does and what an organization does. So first of all, in Modern Arnis, there are no, wait for it, rank-driven titles other than the name of the belt.
Yep.
And Rich was just right there.
There you go. Yep.
There we go. So each belt has a color and a name. I was going back and forth with somebody on one of my past shows, one of my Datu's Corners, about how the ranks are a little different in different places. And he goes, well, what's the sense in all this other stuff? Yeah, there's only one pope. Yep, you're right. So he goes, this guy was going back and forth, and he goes, well, in our system, we do this. And I'm like, well, listen, you weren't as big as Remy. End of story. Let's put it this way. Who was in the FMA world as big as Remy?
Right.
Okay. And he came up in an era that we didn't have this type of structure. So a lot of people looked at what Remy was doing and tried to improve on his business model, which was what we're all trying to do. I mean, right now, I'm doing more than what Remy did. I'm running an organization. I'm teaching seminars like he did, but I'm also running a full-time school. I have a headquarters. I have a board. We're going through and redoing curriculum. Now, there's things that I will never have the skill set to do that what Remy's does. But in many other ways, I'm doing just as much, if not more than Remy, because I have other skills that he did. Just like the generation after me should be doing more than I'm doing. Each generation. So if we can't match the person physically because of life experience and stuff like that, there's other ways to improve. You know, we want each model of martial arts to be better than the previous generation, the previous era. You know, we don't want it to be that it's a copy. Like if we think of the analog world, a copy of a copy of a copy keeps deteriorating. You know, we're thinking we want to be in the digital world, and we keep improving on things. You know, we're not reinventing the wheel; we're making it more efficient. You know, ever notice people in martial arts talk like Borat? In my school, in my country.
That's right. Well, I guess they're trying to put a context, right? And that's fair, right? Only know
Romeo,
what
thank you very much. Romeo Bravo.
Great knowledge. Yep.
And then Bill. An organization evolves from the fresh blood and doesn't die on the vine. Very good.
Speaking of Lacan, though, I just realized that in Cebuano, it means run away. So that's a funny title for a black belt.
But fun.
It was not in Cebuano, so.
I'm looking at stuff here. Oh, maybe that. All right, I'm doing.
You getting more notes?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some things here.
So I don't know if you caught Bill Anderson's last note. He says an organization evolves with the fresh blood. If it doesn't, it dies on the vine. So that's the point of what you were talking about with what are you going to do? Lower the top level each time someone dies? Then you'll end up with nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, when we talk about our stuff here, you know, we look, you know, like I said, Remy was the grandmaster.
Mm-hmm.
There's organizations that change things. There's organizations that will do different things. And, you know, like in our organization, Punong Guro was not a rank-driven title.
Right.
But we have put it on. We have used it for 5th degree black belt. But I want to be upfront that is not a Remy Pracis thing. That is a World Modern Arnis Alliance thing.
Right.
You know, so recently I promoted 3 of my members to 9th degree black belt. Okay. And lately, what's been happening in Modern Arnis is a lot of people have been following either the Combatant platform and now recently the DKI, the non-Filipino Dilman Karate International platform format.
Right.
So people are being promoted in the DKI at 7th degree black belt to Grandmaster. I'm going to point this out that Modern Arnis is not Dilman Karate. When Kenny Smith and Chuck Goss were running around, well, they still do with Grandmaster titles, people would call them that. And I'm like, yeah, they're Grandmasters in Dilman Karate, not Filipino martial arts.
Right.
Okay. Now there's a bunch of people who are following the Combatant platform. So currently there are probably, I think we figured out there's 12 people walking around with Modern Arnis Grandmaster titles, or trying to say that they're Modern Arnis Grandmaster titles.
Wow.
Well, first of all, so in Combatant, it's 8th and 9th degree. I know this because I'm a 9th degree Grandmaster in Combatant. I was the first person, to my knowledge, that was endorsed by the family as Remy's successor. Okay. But when Ernesto did this to me, here's the thing he said: Tim, I can't promote you in my brother's art, but I can promote you in mine, which talks about how the arts are different. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the same. They're different. Now, initially, I thought they were completely different because when Ernesto would teach me, he taught me what was unique in combatant, unique to combatant, not what was in common of Modern Arnis. And there's a lot of stuff that's in common, but I do find that the stuff that's the same, I prefer Remy's version of it. Now, it could just be simple because that's the way I was brought up. I think, although I do feel that Remy had more expertise in the single stick material. That's especially Ernesto, far superior material with the expertise when it comes to double stick. Remy could fight you double stick, but that was not Remy's forte. But the thing here is, if we're Modern Arnis, once again, it's different. It's not combatant because Ernesto Precious himself said it wasn't the same art. So using the ranking so this has always been annoying. This annoyed the hell out of me ever since when people kept saying, "Oh, we do this. This is what we do in Modern Arnis." No, it's combatant. Well, it's Ernesto. It's modern. I go, no. Remy. He changed the name of the art because it didn't accurately represent Remy's art. Because Remy was the founder of Modern Arnis in 1957, while his two younger brothers were 10 or 11 years old. The art evolved over time with the help of the family, but Remy was the admiral. Okay, he was the commander-in-chief. Both of the brothers became world-class martial artists and evolved into different directions, which merited them having a different name for their expression. Okay. The Precious brothers as a collective are the equivalent to they are to Filipino martial arts what the Gracies are to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Hands down. It annoys me when people don't give us, I am 9 toppings of supreme pizza, right? It annoys me when people don't give us the respect, but I understand why they don't, because they always saw the people who were doing the art within the art, not the people who committed to the art, like you and I. But no matter how much stuff is similar, at the end of the day, it's not the same. So when I see people doing combatant and calling it Modern Arnis, I feel that they're giving Remy credit for something he didn't do and not giving credit to Ernesto for stuff he developed. To me, almost being charlatans, ripping off Ernesto's
innovations.
Yeah, I call it martial. I think it's like stealing martial valor, in my opinion. You know, listen, and at the end of the day, taking the Lamborghini logo and putting it on a Ferrari doesn't change the car. There's still two quality machines, but one's a Lamborghini, one's a Ferrari. So, where do we go? Wow, I'm gonna have to reach out. I'm floored. Wow, makes so much more sense. Why?
I wonder if that's.
Did I open up a can of worms there?
It's not something we haven't said before, but maybe he hadn't seen it.
He's never. I mean, hey, and I'm actually gonna do this real quick. So I'm gonna see if Romeo and I are Facebook friends, and if we need to talk, let's do that offline. Oh, we're not friends. He's up in Vancouver. You know what I'm gonna do?
He's got you blocked.
He's blocked me before I had a chance.
That's right.
God damn you. Too late. I sent you a friend request. Doesn't mean he's going to take me up on that. But that's Romeo, right. I'm trying to see if I know him or not.
But I mean, people sometimes take that negative. Ooh, it's not the same. So you're saying it's bad? No, I just literally said it's not the same. Similar is not the same. Similar does not mean one is better than the other. Related doesn't make it bad. It actually makes it good.
Okay. So we'll about 1 second down, 1 2 second down, 1 second down in Arnis are 3 to 5 Taekwondo. Okay. Am I reading that right?
I think so.
Romeo, I already did it. The friend request has been sent. And style like a person degree with a degree in college minor and all that. Oh, okay. All right. So, you know, I once again, saying a Lamborghini is different than a Ferrari. What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
They're different. Saying a Buell is different, even though they're all Harleys.
Mm.
Yeah, it's all right. Kick me from the podcast, but confirmed. Okay. Thank you for the history lecture. I don't know how much of it, we talk about this all the time. So, I mean, we're not trying to trash talk anybody, but the thing here is this, Remy should not get credit for the Cometon material and vice versa. If Ernesto was an integral part of developing certain aspects of Modern Arnis, that's one thing, because the family worked on it together as a unit. But the thing was, Remy was the one that created Modern Arnis. I know a lot of people have tried to talk about this, but I go, look at the dates. Okay, you look at the facts. You go, oh, Remy, Ernesto helped start this. No, he couldn't have. He's only 10, 11 years old. But he could contribute to the development when he was old. And because those three young men became world-class martial arts together as a family, and they spread the art together. There's no question about that.
Beautiful. Yep.
First time watching the show and learning history. So you can listen to our old shows. Unfortunately, a lot of them are 2 hours long. So we started a new format, which we did 2 shows in one night. The first one is about how to elevate the FMA community. The second one is rank-driven titles in Modern Arnis.
2 for the price of 1.
2 for 1. It's a twofer.
They get double their money's worth.
Yeah. So next week we're going to be talking about school. So that's probably going to be a straight show because I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. So hope maybe it'll be a short read. Maybe only be an hour long. That'd be kind of cool if we can maybe say, hey, unless we have like when we did Renee Tungsten, we only had an hour with him, but he's going to be back on the show.
We need to do that. Yep.
And then Danny Terrell, we're going to get him on the show.
That guy. Yeah, we do have to.
That guy.
My old, the guy I didn't know that I shared a state with before I moved out here.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah, but he was way south, I think. Danny, I think I told you I was up in Florine, about 60 miles south of Shreveport. Anyway.
So, oh wow, and Romeo Bravo plays with lightsabers. So do I. Go figure.
Okay.
So,
okay. That's what Pizza was trying to say. I'll read it.
Says.
I was trying to say 6th degree in Kempo with a 1st degree in Arnis. They might have sticks in their hands, but they'll still look like a Kempo guy doing Arnis, since his flow will be a Kempo foundation. That's that art within your art type thing. So Danny knows where Florine is.
Oh,
nice big town, nice village of 140 people.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. When you did the whole art within your art, which was 96% of Remy's people, he never tried to get people to abandon their original DNA. He embraced it. He made them, with his help, he helped make them as a teamwork. The person would become better because he added the drills as physical skill development.
Yeah, I mean, and also it's your foundation art. If it's still the thing you're the most advanced in, like an accent, it's going to stick with you, and that's not necessarily bad, but it may not be a good representation. Like me speaking Tagalog, I have an American accent, and it's not going to be a good representation of native speakers.
See, now I'm a connoisseur of martial arts, so when I watch Ty doing his forms, I see the foo in him.
You do, yeah.
Okay, but when I see him doing his Arnis, I don't. So, but forms are different. I grew up in Ishinru town, so I kind of patterned the forms a little off the Ishinru people in the area, like a hybrid of an Ishinru, and there was a couple Shotokan, so it was kind of like a mixed batch of things. But now I found myself, when it comes to the forms, I feel like I express myself more in the Kempo methodology. Not that I've trained it, but they flow similar to us. So, but when it comes to techniques, I still do my techniques the way I do my techniques. I mean, I remember Jay Sparrow. We had in Michigan. We were really fortunate. we would do actually sometimes black belt testing the night before the day test, because we would take a room full of black belts, have them test, and then they'd sit on the board the next day. Because we'd have that quantity of black belt. And we're talking a camp that averaged like 90 people every year. And it was like half the people were new people. So a lot of people were going like every other year. So you still had, I mean, if you think about how many people would attend the camp overall, it may have been like 150, 160 people who would regularly attend it. But some people would do it like every other year. Then there was another group that did the opposite year of them. And then there was the group of us that did it every year, which is hard to follow. Hopefully it wasn't too hard to follow there. So we would go through all that, but we would do the camps the night before. And I remember Jay Sparrow and I sitting on a test together, and she looked at two of my students. I go, they don't look like you at all. I go, well, Jay, they're doing forms now. And one comes from Cheeto-Kwan, which is a hybrid system, a Korean-based. And then another was a Jean Park Taekwondo, ITF. So they're another school. So when it came to doing their forms, I was not going to do anything that was going to compromise their base system. Now, they were training the arts as standalones too, but the fact of the matter was, I wasn't going to mess with the forms, and Remy wasn't so anal retentive that the forms had to be a very, very certain way. Did he want them all to be more in line with each other? Of course he did. But if he could see you doing trapping hands, he didn't care if you did it rigid or soft, flowing or staccato. He just rolled with it. So once they started doing the techniques, she leans over, I see you in them.
Okay.
And that's it. Good. I can see you. You're on the floor right now with them. I'm like, yes.
Nice.
Even though I'm sitting next to you. So let's see this one. Here's this for you.
Let's see. I asked this before. Red trim black belt, is that a Remy idea, or did he see it and use it? A lot of schools use it as master belt now. So red trim black, that's actually in the first book. That was, I don't know where he got it from, but maybe you have some insight.
No, but I'm going to say Remy made the belt popular.
Yep.
It was funny. So I've gone through many different looks of Tim Hartman. So listen, I'm going to talk about this. When I left, Remy dies, a shit show happens, and I went my own path and decided not to fight over something, but to build my own stuff. Long-term thing, these guys are no longer doing what they're doing to the level. The organization that they tried to take over is a shit show, and I'm crushing it, and you can do your own research to see if I'm exaggerating. I mean, that's my opinion. I think I'm doing a good job with the organization, but at the end of the day, we are growing all the time, and I don't see that with the other groups now that are doing Modern Arnis. Now, I went through this time that I did not want to look like the other groups. I didn't want to be mistaken for the other groups, but more importantly, I didn't want my expression to give them more clout. I would get judged, okay, we've said it before. How many times have you gone to something and people think you're not a Modern Arnis guy?
You do that in Modern Arnis? You have that in Modern Arnis? What? Yeah, they're all surprised.
They're all surprised because we have taken off our FMA training wheels. We're not doing it as the art within your art. We're doing it as the art. And so I went through this whole thing of trying to find my own expression, and the belts became part of that. I actually went to a different belt for a while. I was doing all these different belts, trying to figure out something new, because like I said, I didn't want to be mistaken for them, and I didn't want them getting credit for my ability. Because if I'm going to add more legitimacy to the system, and respect, I didn't want to help the system, because it was that ugly of a situation back in the day, and it's kind of gone down that path again. but we've because of social media and all this other stuff, I'm pretty much, you don't really see these other groups out there per se. So I actually did a Kempo thing to our belts, and I had Kempo people bitch at me about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had Dennis Kanatsa reach out to me because the belt before this belt was half Kempo with Filipino script. And I'm actually looking on Kataro's Facebook page trying to find it. And Dennis reached out to me directly, like, why did you do this? It was unique to Kempo. And I'm like, dude, do you know how many people use the red border black belt out there? That was us.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Remy before anyone did anything like that. No, Remy, I think Remy was doing that in the 60s. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I know it was in that first book, so
The Practical Art of Eskrima?
I believe it was in that one. Anyway, he described, remember, it was the blue trimmed for the student ranks and the black trimmed or red trimmed with the black. It's supposed to change
that pissed me off. I was going to talk about that on the show. You know, when Brian said that, I don't know if it was the student ranks, but he had made a comment about the belts, how there was the brown belt with the blue border. And, I don't know if that was supposed to be for all student ranks.
Oh, it might have just been for the brown, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was for the brown, and we did it in Buffalo. I mean, just because they didn't do it, but then again, I mean, who knew people that could sew that stuff on there?
Exactly. Yes. Right.
Because sewing on a belt is not an easy task.
Nope.
And I know I've got t-shirt companies that do embroidery professionally in the area that had in the past embroidered belts, and they don't do it anymore because it's that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, companies like Kataro and Century and Asian World and fill in the blanks, who offer belts and do customization, they can do that as well. But don't
forget my friends, my very first Arnis belt, Eosin Panther.
Eosin Panther, yep. They do theirs by hand. I don't like that. I mean, I do like that, and I don't.
Right, I get you.
I want everything to be identical on all the belts.
Yep.
But then I'm OCD.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, and you're right there with me.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's see my favorite. Let's see what do we got here. My favorite look of Tim's Hartman was the mullet. Yep, had the mullet and the goatee. Actually, I got the goatee back. Hard to tell when it's this light. And then here, you read this one while I'm still looking for this damn belt.
Pizza says, let's see, I do not know any other Arnis guy who does as many events as you, from Action Martial, Super Event, Reno. You are showing martial artists a system they may never have seen or heard of. Yeah, getting out there. Oh, wait, are you doing some work?
Yeah, it could be. Rich said just for Brown. My seamstress stopped doing it in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Most embroidered belts use leather needles.
Sure, right.
Oh, that's a pretty badass belt. I found a black belt with black embroidery on it. It looks pretty cool. Actually, the cool thing, my latest belt, my Kataro, that's where I get my belts from, I've got a red core now. So when it wears out, it will wear out red. I hate that white, wearing out white. It
looks a little natty sometimes.
Yeah. I'm gonna find this one right when we sign off. So I think okay, Rich was in a dedicated program. I was in a dedicated school and program. Did you guys do the blue border belts?
Us?
Yeah.
No, we never. Well, we wanted to, but we didn't get around to it for ourselves, and didn't ask our student to do it because that got to be quite expensive too. And like you said, a hassle.
If you knew somebody, it'd be another story,
right?
And like now, there's so many companies out there that will customize, so that's good. And like right now, I don't even think twice about paying for this stuff. I just do it, because I understand. I look about the brand from a business point of view, and remember, just because someone has the business model in their head, that's how we keep the doors open. Because, if you're renting space, you still need to be able to pay those bills, and, Rich is an example, and he likes Kitaro. He's got his belt there. Rich would teach out of another Tang Soo Do school, and if it wasn't profitable, the guys would tell them hasta la bye-bye. Now, Rich has a career. Martial arts is not his primary income. That being said, if like I said, if he doesn't want to pay out of his pocket to teach other people. I've and we go. Here we go. Here, what's this? What's that one there?
Is the red, white, and blue belt Grandmaster for Kombatan.
And that would be an O with an M also.
Yeah, I read it the right way.
Yes. So I've got. So
you've got one of those.
I've got one of those. So
I think it's 9th and above, or
8, 9, 10.
Okay. I mean, for that belt.
Yes, and 8.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure about 8, but I know 9. I mean, I think it's a belt that the Grandmasters get to use. Okay. So I will show you the belt that I had made because I wanted to be different. Well, I just didn't want to be misidentified as somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because,
It's easier to count, too. I remember watching Grandmaster Van Browning was at an event in Texas, and I'm like,
oh, my God.
Hold still. I can't count the stripes.
Stop moving. Stop moving. I thought he was a charlatan. I kept counting the stripes on his belt, and then he hit me. And I'm like, nope, that ain't a charlatan.
No, real deal.
So what I did for a while is I did Kempo on one side, I did Filipino script on the other, and then people gave me shit on that.
But that's what I guess we still do that.
I don't do that. Well, we do the other belt. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, because now I don't have it in front of me, and I don't wear it that often. Sorry.
I'm working on it. Okay, here we go. Here is my belt. This is my belt. This is off the Kitaro site, but this is the belt that I wear. So the Modern Arnis black. So what we do in our organization is we wear the Modern Arnis black belt. Right. Actually, this says Praesus Arnis here.
Yep.
And each stripe is a degree. When it becomes a block, that's a 10 or 5. And then, so I'm wearing 2 of these. So that's 10th degree because I wear the 10th degree for the organization.
I'm glad you said that. I thought it was 2nd degree.
Oh, I mean, I would need a lot more real estate on my belt. Although,
I mean, if you count the bars the other way, right?
I was going to say, here we go. Here's 2 degrees. So that's the.
I know you've never heard that before.
Damn belt.
I know you've never heard that before. Yep.
Not at all. Not at all. So
it's actually handy and it makes it easy to read. I know it's the Kempo has done the. Does anybody else do the blocks?
Kempo. Yes. Well, here's one. So here's another Filipino. Once again, most likely this is Remy inspired. Mm-hmm. It's from the Philippines. So in the Philippines, everyone's doing a bordered black belt.
Yep.
Or this is a blue belt. But here's the thing: you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop moving. 6, 7, 8. Stop moving. 9 and 10.
Yep. Well, and you notice it's navy midnight blue, and so some Taekwondo styles use that as a black belt. They're midnight blue.
Yeah, there's the Koreans that do that. So so it was just easier.
Can you share that picture of mine with Master Ken look for Bill Anderson for his comment here? I don't know if you have it handy.
All right. Let me see if I can. Give me a minute. I got to make sure I get the one that's not edited or that's edited, not the.
There you go.
I think in that group is my Wolverine, my ode to Wolverine.
I see. Yes, but yeah. So Bill, there, where you can do a lot of fun things when we get silly with rank, and I think like anything else, I think that if people want to poke fun in it, they should. I mean, nothing's sacrosanct, and there are too many people being bozos, so why not?
So I walked around with, I got it right here. I walked around, although it's missing 2 stripes. Nice thing about Kataro, you get stripes for life.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
One at a time, though.
Yeah. Okay, what one? Your picture just disappeared on me again. Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna pull this up here. I did a photo of me wearing or having all my black belts in my hand and wearing a white belt because of my jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And I go, who says once you go black, you can't go back?
There you go. So you got that one too. Okay, good.
Okay, that didn't work well. Hold on. I'm sharing way too much. Stop sharing. Share a screen. Okay, here we go. Maybe that's
Oh yeah. Yep, there you go.
How many belts you got in there?
Just for you, Bill. Let's see. I got a Kung Fu. I got the Arnis, my old Arnis one. I got my Arnis sash. I got my Kun Tao yellow belt.
Yep. The Kung Fu sash, Arnis belt, Kun Tao belt. Okay.
Yeah. And to get the real look, I got the sleeveless red thing that we were doing pictures for, formal pictures. You brought out and said, "Hey, here you go." And so
you got our ode to Master Ken, baby.
Right. I sent that to Matt Page, and I didn't hear back from him, but I'm sure he chuckled.
Let me see here. Nice, very nice. Okay, what we got here from? Oh yeah, there we go. It is all bullshit.
That's right. I'm going to start using a whiteout to put stripes on.
Is that it? Is that your next move?
Yeah.
I was still thinking about getting a black belt done. It would be the anti-Modern Arnis belt. So I'll go back to this again.
If it was really anti, it would have to be a white belt with cyan border.
Okay, so what I was going to do is do the red and black.
Okay.
And then do the middle in white to represent more of a white belt.
Yep.
Just to be a little different. Actually, I was thinking about a bunch of times I just felt like wearing a damn white belt because with all these people walking around with 10th degree black belts, I think it's embarrassing. I think it's an insult. See, here's the other thing too is so people always bust my chops for things that I say because they don't like what I say. But they don't give a shit on what they're doing and think on how it affects other people.
Right.
You know what? Remy was the grandmaster. If we want to table the idea of all of us together, getting together and say, hey, listen, let's have a European grandmaster because we need to manage stuff there. Let's have one in the Philippines and let's have one in the Americas.
Right.
As I said, the Americas, which gives you North and South America, but I mean, and two of the people who are walking around with these grandmaster titles in Modern Arnis now, one is Dieter, and the other is Kelly Warden. They both have mad skills in what they do. They have a connection with Remy, but their martial expression is not dedicated to promoting Remy's art. Maybe the name, but not the art. Kelly will be the first to tell you that he's got a synthesis of all these things. Dieter's got Combatant first, Anaya Eskrima, and Modern Arnis in the mix. And I get this directly from his own students.
Well, we have a saying at work, if everything is top priority, then nothing is. If everybody's a grandmaster, then nobody is.
So here he goes. Danny is jealous of all your belts.
There you go. Yeah, somehow I don't think he is.
I've seen white belts that are GM, but they have 10 stripes on black embroidered.
Yep.
And how many Godfathers
does the mob have? Yeah,
mob have.
One per family.
So, so the reason why this came up is that I promoted Chad Doolin, Craig Mason, and my wonderful co-host Tye Botting to 9th degree black belt in the system. And the same person reached out multiple times to find out if I promoted people to grandmaster. Are you now Grandmaster? I go, first of all, and of course, don't talk to me. Don't ask me a thing. Our organization does not issue a title of Grandmaster.
Right.
My Grandmaster title is in Combatant because that's what I was promoted to by the late great Grandmaster Ernesto Precis. I was, to my knowledge, the first Westerner to become a 9th degree Grandmaster. First American, actually, to my knowledge. Then a day later, they fixed that because somebody else should have had it before me. That would have been, who actually was a Filipino, was Ernesto's best friend, Lito Concepcion. He should have been the first. And then, like a week later, Rick Manglanong and others. Robert Castro. There was a small handful that were promoted. So, but the thing here is it's not a Modern Arnis, it's in Combatant. Because I've had people say, well, I thought you said you'd never use the Grandmaster title. I wouldn't for Modern Arnis unless I was the chosen one by the members. So if the community as a whole got behind me, not my organization, but the community said, Tim, we want you to be the leader of Modern Arnis, then so be it. If we all got behind somebody else, I have to ask that sometimes. Ty, which is the priority should I do first?
Right. Which top priority is the real one?
Yeah. So, if I decided that, hey, you know what? We should get behind Tye Botting. He should be the guy, hey, listen, we should get behind somebody else. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it would be different, if I saw someone that could do all the things that Remy did for me, I would have been behind that person. I didn't go to the Philippines. I didn't look for guidance in the Philippines because they weren't around for Remy's 26 years of evolution. They can tell you they can show you where it started from theoretically. They can show you their progression and evolution because they all evolved on their own. But they can't show you what Remy evolved it to because they weren't here. And I was recently discussing it with one of the Europeans. They're saying, well, what about Bambit? I go, Bambit was a Combatant guy. He studied with Ernesto. And he only studied with Remy once when he went back in 99. Remy hadn't gone to the Philippines since he left in the 70s, like 74, 75, and hadn't gone back till 99. How much material would Bambit have learned in one visit? And how much would have gotten his DNA? And he's done demonstrations for both Ty and I, and along with Craig. And not to take anything away from him, he's got talent. He's very smooth at what he does. But over 90% of what he shows us is Ernesto's material, not Remy's material. How accurate is that comment, you think?
I saw a lot of Ernesto and only glimpses here and there of Remy. That's what I saw. Others could see different, but that's my take.
And the thing here is, well, and listen, we would see Remy Precis spice.
Yeah.
But the main meal was Ernesto. Just like when someone watches me, even though I can do Combatant, you'll see me as a Modern Arnis guy first and foremost, and then you'll see the Combatant influence. If we sit there, let's do Combatant, you're like, okay, in many ways you just think I'm another Combatant guy. There's certain things that I don't embrace in Combatant that I prefer to, that, when we're coming to certain departments, when it comes to footwork and stuff, I would prefer Remy's footwork over Ernesto. But then again, that's how I was brought up. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that mine is better. It's just that's more natural for me. And some of the things that Ernesto did, like when they would do the Sinwalis, they would actually smack they would smack themselves in the back to chamber and hit. And like, that's completely opposite of what Remy did. And Manong Ted with the Balintawak told me, when we talked about that, he's like, okay, for what we were doing in Combatant, that would get you in trouble if you're playing the Combatant game. But you do the Largo Mono game, that's a whole nother animal. But and once again, I'm not commenting on which is better, but one worked better for what my whole overall synthesis was going to be. some things fit better. But, at the end of the day, modern is modern, Kombatan is Kombatan, and Hinigran Arnis de Mano is Hinigran Arnis de Mano. And that's Roberto Brace's system, in case you didn't know. And Hinigran with an H is their hometown. Just so we put things into context. So what did you get out of this conversation, Ty?
Get out of it? Well, I mean, I tried racking my head a little bit. I mean, I couldn't find any rank-driven things. So I think that came to the fore pretty well. We explored it openly and went through the things, and then ended up on the final one, which again was also not rank-driven. I think that was all I was interested in getting out there. Was there anything else we should have covered?
No, I think we nailed it. Listen, so I will say it my way here. Long story short, Modern Arnis does not have any rank-driven titles. Now we're talking as per Remy Amador Praces. What Modern Arnis organizations since then have chosen to do is up to them. But when we talk about when Ty and I talk about the art, we talk about what the art was as per what Remy was doing. And if there's something like Punong Guro for 5th degree black belt, we are very specific that that's something we do in our organization. So when we talk about it, when we address people as PG and stuff like that, we come up, and it's funny. Okay, not an insult, but a fact. When Ty taught in Germany, they didn't acknowledge Punong Guro.
Right. Yeah, I think they're
master.
Yep. Well, it was senior master for the rank I had at the time. That was their scale, and just to make it easier for everyone, they said that. But yeah, Punong Guro they were uncomfortable with because in too many of the exposures they had, it was their grandmaster. It's like I didn't really care. I just thought it was funny. So whatever.
So
I'm easy,
Yeah. So, but now they're senior master. There was only one in Modern Arnis, but yes, they've adapted it into their thing. So, I would refer to someone. Okay, someone said, "Well, what does that mean?" Well, this person would be one of our senior masters. Is that a title you use? No, it's not. But that's what it would really. There's your masters and your senior master, And in the future, we might have something in between. Like right now, when you become a 5th, you're PG. There might be something in the future for our organization. And we're going to do research to see if it makes sense in Filipino culture.
Oh, so it can't just be something random like elbow macaroni?
We could do that. We can do elbow macaroni. We can do we can talk about all the brands of macaroni and I'm more of a cheese and mac, like Kraft cheese and mac guy.
Craft master. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So we can do this. We can do a whole bunch of things.
I'm sorry. Some of this stuff after a while gets really pretty silly. So I'm getting punch drunk here. Sorry.
Well, and the other thing too is for everybody else, we have to joke about it because sometimes this really ticks us off so much. We have to make fun of it, or it'll tear us up.
Well, that and who does a rank or a title matter for? It only matters within that structure that it was given. So whether it's the style, the system, the organization, and then beyond that, it's interesting, but not really germane to anybody else.
So I'm going to wrap up my opinion on just because we're talking about rank. Let me just throw something out at you. So you guys go back on weekly. Yes, we'll be back weekly for the rest of the month. Next week we'll have a thing on teaching school platforms. So actually we might have Craig Mason might be on as well.
Excellent.
Because he's got a phenomenal home Joe.
Yes.
So there's the garage workout area. Then there's the home Joe, a home dojo. We'll talk about that. If we can get him on the show, if his schedule lines up, that his home Joe is better than a lot of actual commercial studios.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what next week. And then I'm waiting for Miguel Ruby from FMA Supply to get on because we're going to talk about martial arts supplies as well as some FMA urban legends. And we'll be Mythbusters.
Oh, nice. I wasn't tracking that one. Cool. See, I learned something just by showing up.
Yeah, well, remember that thing I shared with you? The guys? And during the meeting, the article.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then I posted on my Facebook page, and it came up. That was really good. I said it didn't. I'm like, okay, no problem. And then all of a sudden it's there, and a lot of people are like, ooh, he didn't. I go, well, I didn't. Black belt did, but that's another story. What's this here? The lady at Subway shirt said sandwich artists.
That's her title. Yep.
That's her title. There we go. So, listen, ranks and titles. Let's go over this. It means everything and nothing. Mm-hmm. Your belt covers 2 inches of your body. What's covering the rest of it? That belt is useless, but that's where it's nothing. But let's talk about everything. That belt represents all the blood, sweat, and tears that you've gone through to get that. Mm-hmm. And if you made it worth your while, that means everything. Mm-hmm. Not the quest to getting it, but that representation. That, to me, the belt is the representation of all the work that you did to get there. Mm-hmm. Everything we do is everything and nothing. Oh, Sinwalis, they're everything and they're nothing. There's, blotch a counter, it's everything and it's nothing. Tappy, it's a whole lot of hooey. No, it's everything and nothing. What we do, I don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, titles. I go to Ty's event. I go to many events. It's my turn to be introduced. I stand up. I say, my name is Tim Hartman. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I do Filipino martial arts. Now, if it's a Filipino event, my name is Tim Hartman. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I teach Prace's family martial arts. Boom. Tim Hartman. I can't tell you how many times people are, oh, master, grandmaster. Call me Tim.
Yep, just like the wizard.
Well, then I tried to go Mighty Wizard Tim on his event from Monty Python. Unfortunately, there's a clan element down there, and we don't want people thinking that, all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of people with sheets showing up. Nope.
Let's not do that.
That's at the other place.
They can go, somewhere else.
Okay, here we go. Hasta luego, guys. Might miss December shows. Like, we're not going to do December, but I will try from the Philippines in January. Cool.
Excellent.
All right.
That's good to have you, Bill. Thanks.
Yeah. So this second half went a little longer. It's an hour and 20 minutes-ish. First half, we stayed on point. I thought it was really good. Actually, I thought this was going to be shorter, but we also went down the rabbit hole on a few other things. So, but we kept on point when it came to the first part.
Right.
So that to me, that mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to write something to you, to someone. Uh-oh. Did I lose Ty? You scared me, brother.
That was weird. I pressed the wrong thing.
Okay. All right. Listen. So next week is going to be on schools, clubs, park groups, etc.
Nice.
Then I'll know. I'm going to have a backup thing for the following week, the 21st, because we're not sure if Miguel Rubio will be available on the 21st or the 28th. The 28th officially will be the last show of season number 2. So tonight, this is actually episode 29 and 30. Yay. And hopefully, listen, as always, everybody, please, share this. I like when they have 2 bio pages. Okay.
Page bios, yeah. That must have been earlier in the conversation.
Yeah. So listen, do us a favor if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification button, and by all means, feel free to share this video wherever you feel appropriate.
And the other one, too.
And all of the videos.
That's right. There you go. All of them.
Share them all. Okay.
And by the way, when you share them, you can tag a certain place. Like, say you want to see minute 5:32, then you can put that in the tag, and you can look up how to do that. It's pretty easy. And that way, maybe you can, point people to exact things that you want to do.
Great. So listen, we're out of here. We'll see you next week. If you got any topics or people you want to recommend, we still do have a list, but we can't get people on the show that people want if we don't know people want them.
Yep.
Or if we feel there's people we need to talk to about this, feel there's people there, well, let's make that happen. Okay. Boom. Thank you. Always has something new for both of you. Good evening. Okay. Like 5 minutes and still not done talking about green belt and karate hockey tape. We hockey champions, soapbox derby, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right.
I see. Okay. That was the bios. Yeah, I get it.
Okay. All right. And I got another one. Every time I go to walk away here. Thank you. Okay.
Romeo.
Hey, right. Romeo. Yeah. So we're Facebook friends now. So I don't know if he's going to like that, but all right, everybody, please, as always, stay safe and stay sane. This is Datu Tim.
PG Tye. Take care, everyone.
See you all soon.